Hi Booktube and happy Tuesday. I feel like it's almost needless to say that I need a distraction today. After work I started doing lots of baking, making some bread loaves for sandwich bread, and I've been making some rolls, and while that is proving up, I am gonna sit down and film a video. And I was watching Booktube earlier today, and it's the official start of the 100 book challenge, and I was watching Criminale. He was doing a shop your shelves, and as I haven't done a nonfiction November TBR yet, I thought, why not do a combination video of showing you my nonfiction shelves and picking some books off my shelves. I've already started reading books for nonfiction November, but I haven't put together a TBR, and so there's quite a bit of room on my TBR. And so I was like, why not take you along for the journey? So I'm going to switch the camera around and show you my shelves. Okay, so starting at the very tippy top of the first bookcase, I have some coffee table books, and these are all nonfiction. And yeah, as I'm going to shop my shelves, like, why not pick, I'm thinking like one book per shelf perhaps. So I have lots of these, the American Heritage collection. I have the Colonial America, and then I have the Native American Heritage. Let's see, I'm not going to read off all of these books, but the Bruce Catton one catches my eye because he's one of my favorite Civil War writers. I mean, I have read some of these books off my shelf. Sorry for the camera, it's jiggling. I'm like holding it up with my hand. But you know what, as I'm looking, this is a slim one and would be good for the 100 book challenge. Rachel Carson, The Sense of Wonder. It's full of photography. This is the reason I picked it up. Let's see if I can show you. Again, one-handed here, so sorry for the wobbliness, but there's like a little bit of text and then lots of pictures. There is more text on some pages, but this would be a good book, so I'm gonna set this aside as the first book pick. And then my second shelf here is mostly literary nonfiction, like memoirs and whatnot, with some variety in there. These two books on Wallace Stegner I'm thinking of getting rid of because they've been on my shelf for quite a while, and while I like Wallace Stegner's writing, I don't think I need a letter collection or like another biography, because I recently read last week a memoir and / biography of an author, and he went over Wallace Stegner and Edward Abbey. So that's why these two are together. So I might get rid of these two. I'll see. But yeah, I'm not gonna pull those off right now. And I have an Edward Abbey book. But oh, this is the diary collection I was just mentioning on my last video. I read A Book of One's Own that featured lots of diary collections, and so this is the author that was mentioned. As I mentioned, that book, it just makes you want to go out and buy all of the journals and diaries. So I think this is the one I'm going to pick from the shelf, but I'll show you some of the other ones. I have Virginia Woolf. I have books on books, and a variety of bookish memoirs, and some short story collections as well. I love E.B. White. He wrote Charlotte's Web, but if you haven't read his short story or essay collection, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's just simply essays of E.B. White. This is a book that I have been eyeing. I bought it like 8 months ago, but I haven't read it, and I really want to. These two books are the last of I set these aside because these are one of the oldest books on my shelf, on my TBR shelf, and so I'm thinking of these two, but I guess not right now. And then I had this like wonderful collection of the New Yorker cartoons, and I have read that. Okay, so going to my third shelf, I have some Library of America. I've read something from each of these, but so I'm not exactly sure how to. The one that I haven't read anything from is the second, is part 2 of John Quincy Adams' diaries. But as I already picked a diary collection, and I don't want to start something like this late in the year that I won't be able to finish. And these others I've read a sprinkling from. I'm going to leave these. I have two Carsons, Rachel Carson, and I also pulled, The Sense of Wonder from the first shelf for her. Then I have this gigantic, really pretty King James version of the Bible. It's like gilt edges and wonderful illustrations. I want to reread the Bible. at some point. And for sure, I'll be using this book. And then the rest of these are fiction. So I like these manga classics with Jane Austen, Shakespeare, and I really like the Anne of Green Gables one. As you can see, like these, I have Anne of Green Gables and I have Writing by Joseph. So you can see some of my favorite classics here. So I'm actually going to skip this shelf, but have plenty more to get on with here. And then this fourth shelf is all history. And so I have it going by decades, or, different themes. So I have starting off with like early America, and then going to like the Revolutionary War, Civil War, and then going to like more modern day. But let me see here. Which book do I want to pick? I really liked reading The Flowering of New England by Van Wyck Brooks. And I fairly recently got the second book in the series. But it's a chunky book, and I'm not sure. It's not really calling my name right now. I really like these portable editions. And I have the portable Thomas Jefferson. And it's where it's pulling different chapters or segments of their writing, or letters, diary, whatever. It's all, there's many different authors featured. So this is one, it's like, that's the thing when I sit down and read cover to cover. It's something you want to pick up here and there. Then I have a biography of Thomas Jefferson. Let's see, it's by Fawn M. Brody. This is a biography of him that I have heard quite a bit about. And so I have to get my hands on it, but another one that I haven't read. Let's see, what is this one? 1790 to 1840. And here's another chunky book I got from a library book sale. Robert Lucky. I really like this cover. It's like this like old painted kind of cover. It's really interesting. Bruce Catton. Ooh, I'm going to drop things here. This is an author I really like, and there's also illustrations. This might be a contender for this shelf. Another, a slimmer Bruce Catton is I think is with his son, maybe, William. What is this one about? North and South at the beginning of the Civil War. Yeah, his son, William, professor at History of Middlebury College. I might see. I want to put these two. Let's see, what else do I have here? The Defending of the Valley, the Shenandoah. I think I got this when I was in the Shenandoah Valley. Then I have like Secret Missions of the Civil War. Lots of Civil War, because like my boyfriend hasn't read a lot of books about the Civil War, so he picked up these books when we were in the Shenandoah Valley over the summer. And let's see, what's this one here? Down the Volga, Journey Through Mother Russia, and a time. This is supposed to be something different. This is like a non-U.S. history book I have on my shelves. I read a lot of history. I don't own a lot of it. So let's see. I feel like I have to go with a cat because I pulled out two Cattons and the Russia. So I'm gonna go with this one because those ones are really interesting. Memoirs of Private Alfred Bellard. Okay. So, actually, never mind. Now that I'm looking at this, I read this one. Silly me. I'm like, because I see Bruce Catton's. No, I'm crazy. Never mind. I'm mixing up this with the one up here by Bruce Catton. So no. I have read this one. So I am gonna go. I'm gonna mix things up and go with the Russian history. Okay. I do know what books I have read and haven't, but the blue cover here, I just saw the one up there, is what threw me off. Okay. So now on to the next shelf, and this is these are in alphabetical order, and they're mostly nature writing of sorts. So I have lots of Hal Borland, starting from here all the way through here. So I guess it's not that many, but I do really like his writing. I also really like Rick Bass. I read this one earlier. I read both of these books and really liked him. So let me peruse and see what looks interesting. Oh, and Sally Carragher is another one of my favorite writers. I've read almost all of her books as well. And I read a book by him, by Bill Caldwell, last year. And so I was like, it was on my mind to check if he had any other books at my local bookstore, and they had this one. And he writes all about Maine and like the nature and like just the lifestyle of living in Maine. And so this one seems to be about his time on the boats, because he lives off the shore, off the coast of Maine. And so I think I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, so let's see here. This next shelf, I have quite a few books by William O. Douglas. And so I have a tiny one here with a really, like, I like these old covers. They're really pretty, I think. A very plain one. And then I have, let's see what this one, of Men and Mountains. Okay, I'll show you the rest of these. This is another author I really like. This is really pretty Bayou Backwaters by Alan M. Eckhart. And I recently picked up Wild Seasons. So I think I'm going to go between these two slim books here. And I'm gonna go with William Douglas, because I own 3 books by him, but I haven't read a single one, so I need to get on that. Okay, so now on the very bottom shelf, more nature writing mixed with like Western history and Oregon desert. I haven't spent as much time in the Oregon desert as I would like. I've just really passed through, but I feel like I want to take this book with me when I do explore more, because I've been to Bend, Oregon, and I've, you know, like I said, driven through some of the desert, but it's such a huge, vast area of Oregon. It's like the predominant majority of it, but I just haven't spent much time there, so I need to. And another thing I need to do, you know, a constant running list of things you want to get to, books or, you know, trips. So let's see. This one is really catching my eye. It's like, you know, maybe because it's like sitting like this, but it's a really pretty cover, and it's all about gardening through the seasons. And because we're at the end of the year, like these seasonal, these like books that go through the year are on my mind, because I have several, like, let me see, Hal Borland writes several of those where it's going through the season, and so does Gladys Tabor. She has a lot of seasonal, like, going through the year books. I'm not a gardener, but this just caught my eye. But as I'm flipping through it, I don't know if this is what I want to read right now. Maybe save that for the spring. I need to fix that so it doesn't get warped. It's sitting like that. But let me see what else. Oh, and also like Bernd Heinrich. I really like his work. I got rid of several because I can get them on ebook, but I own a couple of these. And then Hallstrom is another author I really like. Linda M. Hallstrom. She writes from South Dakota on like a family ranch. This one, I remember I saw the cover. This one looks so funny. I like the illustration, and I feel like it's set in Oregon because of like, it looks like Mount Hood right here. Down on the Tree Farm by Florence Hartsty. Let's see. Yeah, Oregon. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, so let me get off the floor and go all the way up to my second bookcase. And these are all Laura Ingalls Wilder books. I have several biographies, and like, you know, nonfiction things I can choose from. For a biography, I really recommend Prairie Fires. That was an excellent biography, like the best one I've read. And she actually won the Pulitzer Prize for that one. But I'm thinking of going with this one. This is a really cute cover, and it seems like a children's biography by Yana Zeldis McDonough, and there's going to be illustrations. It just looks like a really pretty book. Okay, adding that to my pile, and then I have a second shelf. I have the generational books. Like it has like Laura Ingalls Wilder's great-grandmother, grandmother, mother, her books that are up here, and then I have her daughter Rose's books as well. But for nonfiction, the only ones I have, well, I also have Rose Wilder. She wrote these 2 books here. But the only nonfiction I have on this shelf are some of these little pamphlets, and I've read all of these, so I have. I'll just briefly show them to you. Her story when she was in Iowa. And then let's go through all the different home sites. Well, actually, no, this is one I haven't read. It's a guidebook. I guess I can read this one. It's similar to the home sites book book, but with like colored pictures of all the different places that she lived. So I'll add that one. Okay, now back to the nature writing and Western history. Let's see what catches my eye here. I wish y'all could, like, shout out. Like, I could do like a live, live video, so you could shout out different books that I feel like you should recommend to me. Let's see here. I just recently read Sigurd F. Olsen, so I'm gonna hold on to that. I have these two are the other ones I haven't read from him. Gary Paulson, he writes the children's books. And this is one I recently acquired that is like a nonfiction for adults. Clapper, Dolt, and Sweetgrass, and it's illustrated. The paintings are by his wife. And then, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go with this one. Okay. This is just I never have the dust jackets on my books, and so right now I'm reading Of Wolves and Men by Barry Lopez. But this is just the dust jacket. So I don't want to get them messed up. Oh, this is a book I highly recommend. We Took to the Woods by Louis Dickens Rich. And it's funny because Betty McDonald, the Agonai memoir book, she's like really makes fun of Louis's books, because while Louis loves living out in the woods, like, off-grid kind of living, Betty McDonald is just she hates it and makes like basically a giant, joke on that kind of living. It's like, it's cracked up to be kind of thing. Okay, so let's see here. This is all my Gladys Taber books, starting from this bind up of 2 of her works on her cat Amber, and then I have all of these going all the way to here. I feel like on this shelf I have to pick Gladys Taber. So let me see, which ones haven't I read that I want to get to? I feel like this one out here is catching my eye, because I got this again when I was in Virginia, in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is a photo album with some text on what Still Meadow looks like, because as you can see from a lot of these titles, or the focus of these books is Still Meadow. Like you can see, like all of these right here are all talking about the place here that's photographed. So I'm gonna go that one. Okay, so let's move down. Almost done. I just have 2 more shelves to choose from, and this one's much shorter. Let's see here. So I have some Teal, Edward Roy Teal. I really like his book, and these two, like I was saying with Hal Borland and Gladys Taber, this is like going through the cycle of the year. But let me see what captures my interest. I've already read this one. This is about the fairies in Washington, in the Seattle area. Edward O. Wilson, I really like his books. This is a book I recently got that I was happy to find. It had been on my TBR for the longest time, but it's a book I never thought I would be able to find. But it seemed kind of charming. It's all about raising dogs. Something different to read. I think I'm going to go with this one. And the author looks like she really enjoys, being around dogs. And I don't typically read a lot of those, like, training. I don't read any. What I'm saying, I don't read any, how to train dogs. But hopefully it won't focus on that, and it'll be more about, living with dogs and that kind of thing. So let me move this little postcard out of the way. I'll show it just in case you can't see it on my videos, because it's right behind me when I film the videos. But I get this little postcard from a bookstore in Cottage Grove, Oregon, called The Bookstore, and they have a cat. I didn't get to meet the cat. It was put away at the time, but there's a shop cat. Okay, so here I have another Linda Hallstrom, and this book I actually got from this bookstore. Let's see, I have some Covered Wagon series, and then I have, these are all like anthologies of different authors. And I could, anthology would mix things up from what I've picked so far for the month. Because I do like having a book that's like on the go. But let me see what I want to read. Woman's Journey in the West. And they have lots of women's journeys out in the West. Woven in the Wind. There's a collection. And we have Leaning on the Wind. I haven't read this. I've read Woven on the Wind, but this is like the second book in the series. Actually, it's edited by Linda Houseman. I was just mentioning her. I have 2 books on Montana. West to Montana and Montana Women Homestead. Oh, this one. What award? Women's Writing of the West. Okay. And more frontier stories. Lots of those. So I was like, which one of these am I going to choose from? Oh, I have these 2 right here. This one I see all the time everywhere. Like in any used bookstore, I always see this Pioneer Woman. I think I'm going to go with A Road of Her Own. Like, it feels like a road trip kind of book. Okay, so those are all of my shelves, and I'm going to turn it back around so I can show you all the books I've selected for my Nonfiction November TBR. So I'll spin it out real quick so you can see all of them. Lots and lots and lots of nonfiction books. And then I have over here, I'll just briefly show you the fiction shelf. Most of these are my boyfriend's books. He reads lots of fantasy, but I do have the bottom half are mine. Okay, I'm back, and I organized these by size so I could do a pile of nonfiction choices. I have 12 books here, so that means I have 12 nonfiction bookshelves, and so very happy about that. I eventually would like all of these to be nonfiction shelves, and because I read a lot of fiction on my Kindle, my library, I get all of my books through my library cards, because I have a variety of library cards, as you do. So I collect books and library cards. Yeah, a lot of the fiction I can find on there. Whereas a lot of the nonfiction, I read a lot of backlist, and I do read new releases as well. But yeah, so I don't think I have to go through these all over again. But drop them. But yeah, this is going to be my nonfiction November TBR. Thank you for sticking around on the tour, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Booktube.